Thank you. I ask consent to speak in morning business. And first, want to welcome back my colleague and friend, the Majority Leader of the United States, Minority Leader of the United States Senate, Senator Harry Reid. He is, I'm told he was coming back, and I found a way to avoid a blizzard in Chicago to be here with you, Harry, because I wanted to be here for this moment. It's a great moment for those of us on the Democratic side of the aisle to have Harry back, and I know it means a lot to him. We've been on the phone. I know he's gone through a lot in terms of his injury and also his impatience at home when, for a period of time, he couldn't read a book, which he loves to do, watch television, or do much of anything. And I know he was anxious to get back in the saddle and back here, and we are so glad that he's returned. And his message at the outset shows that there's no, he may be scarred and beaten up, but there's no diminution of the fighting spirit that Harry Reid has brought to the Senate floor on so many occasions with his opening remarks, reminding us that we are going to embark this week on a question about the funding of the Department of Homeland Security. Of all things, the Department of Homeland Security, created to protect America from terrorism, is a department that is underfunded by Republican design. The Republicans refused to give the regular budget appropriation to the Department of Homeland Security to protest President Obama's executive order on immigration. The House of Representatives went so far as to add 5 riders, conditions, to the budget for the Department of Homeland Security and send them here. They have said that they will not fund this department unless we join them in what has become an extremely negative and, I believe, hate-filled attack on people across America. Saturday, we had a rally in Chicago, and at that rally was Secretary Jay Johnson of the Department of Homeland Security. Joining us were Congressman Luis Gutierrez of Chicago, myself, and the mayor of Chicago, and literally hundreds of people, many of them dreamers, young people who were now, because of President Obama's executive order, allowed to go to school and work in America. Remember, these were children, toddlers, infants brought to America by their families who were undocumented through no fault of their own. They've lived in America, they've been educated in America, they've pledged allegiance to our flag in their classrooms, and they have no future because we have not changed the immigration law to give them a chance. But President Obama has given them a chance. DACA is a program that when these young people sign up for it, they can be protected to live in America without fear of deportation, to work here, to go to school here, and to start to realize their dreams. They even want to volunteer for our military. Many of them do. They're trying their best to be part of America's future, and the president gave them that chance. The House of Representatives, Republican majority, said, we will not fund the Department of Homeland Security to protect America against terrorism unless the Senate will vote to literally deport the dreamers. At a time, as Senator Reid said, when we are threatened with ISIS, when we are sickened by the images on television of innocent people, including Americans, being beheaded, at that same time, the Republicans on Capitol Hill are telling us we are not going to properly fund the Department of Homeland Security to protect America unless we can protest what President Obama's done for 600,000 young people protected by DACA. Senator Reid quoted Senator McCaskill, spoke up at one of our meetings the other day, and said apparently the Republicans fear the dreamers more than they fear the terrorists, more than they fear ISIS. That's wrong. I don't know who cooked up this political strategy. They were not thinking clearly. If they were thinking clearly, we would fund that department with a clean appropriation, one that is now sitting on a calendar of the United States Senate that was offered by Senators Jeanne Shaheen and Barbara Mikulski. It's sitting here. By unanimous consent, with the approval of the majority leader, we could pass it today, fund this agency. I asked Secretary Johnson, well, what difference does it make if you get a temporary funding bill or a regular budget bill? He said, I can't properly run this department. I'm wasting time and money. I'm not investing in things that make us safer because of the way Congress, in this case the House Republicans, insist that they will not properly fund this agency. They funded every other agency of government except for the Department of Homeland Security. What are they thinking? Why would they want to make an object lesson out of this critical department? I said to Secretary Johnson, so what types of things can't you do? He said, one example, he said, we give grants for research to find ways to make America safer when we're attacked. We can't give those grants now because we're under a continuing resolution. Research is stopped to make America safe. Is that a wise thing for the new Republican majority in the House and Senate to do? Clearly, that's their plan, but we're going to give them an alternative, and very quickly. We're going to tomorrow consider a procedural motion about whether or not we go to this House bill, which has the 5 riders on immigration. I believe that the Democrats will say, no, we want a clean bill, and we want to move to that bill quickly. And we need to do it not just because we need to keep America safe. Isn't that our first obligation? But secondly, because I don't believe our caucus, and I hope not a majority of the other caucus, has the same hate-filled feelings toward Dreamers that we've seen in the House of Representatives. 600,000 of them have stepped forward. I've come to the floor day after day to tell their stories. They are just the most amazing stories of young people who, with no help from the government, finish college and pursue professional degrees without a penny of assistance from our government, whose only dream is to be part of the future of America. They are our future. They will help our economy. They will reduce our deficit. They will once again reestablish and reaffirm the American dream that people can risk everything to come to this country to make sure their children have a better life. These dreamers deserve that chance. America deserves the chance to be properly secure in this age of terrorism. This Republican strategy is not going to achieve that. So I thank my colleagues.
Would my friend yield for a question?
I'd be happy to yield for a question.
My friend is modest. My friend, a senior senator from Illinois. But tell those within the sound of our voices how long you have worked on the DREAM Act. You.
I thank the senator from Nevada, our minority leader. 14 years ago, I introduced the DREAM Act. And I got into a spat with a Republican senator, Senator Hatch, who said, that's my idea. And I said, fine, then it'll be the Hatch-Durbin DREAM Act. And we introduced it 14 years ago. It has not been enacted into law, and Senator Hatch now has some misgivings over this issue. But I've stuck with it for 14 years, and you joined me in sending a letter to President Obama asking that he create this executive order of protection. And I'd like to say a word about executive orders. Republicans come to the floor here and suggest that when a president of the United States issues an executive order, it is an unconstitutional exercise of power. You hear it over and over again. If you step out of this chamber and take just a few steps toward the staircase, you will see this magnificent historic painting of Abraham Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. It is historic because with the signature of President Lincoln, 3 million American slaves were freed. An executive order. And it was an order which had the force of law. It was signed by President Lincoln, an executive order. It wasn't the only one. We think back in history to the historic executive orders, and you have to think of Harry Truman. Harry Truman, after World War II, stepped up and said, we are going to integrate the armed forces of the United States of America, and I won't wait for Congress. Give me the pen and paper to sign the executive order to achieve it. So if President Lincoln can liberate 3 million American slaves, if President Truman can sign an executive order integrating the armed forces, how can the Republicans come to the floor one after the other and say the use of an executive order by the president is unconstitutional and want to hold President Obama accountable for their misguided thinking? It doesn't make sense. And I might just say, and I thought perhaps the senator from Nevada was going to say it as well, if none of the Republicans like what President Obama has done on immigration, can I remind them they're now in majority control of the House and the Senate? If they think it's better to have a law enacted, despite the fact that for 2 years the House of Representatives refused to even call the bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform, if they think it's proper and right for a law to be enacted on immigration, the American people have given them the majorities in both houses to do it. So instead of cursing the darkness and failing to fund the Department of Homeland Security, why don't they roll up their sleeves and go to work? as members of the House and Senate and pass immigration reform. I think that is worthy of this great body and the one across the rotunda. But to underfund the Department of Homeland Security that protects us from terrorism, what are they thinking? I thank the Senator from Nevada for returning. It feels great to have you back in your capacity here as our leader on the Democratic side and as my friend. I yield the floor.